Okay, hello Cloud Gurus. I'm Matthias Andersson, welcoming you to another episode of Cloud Provider Comparisons. In this series, we compare different public cloud providers across both similarities and differences, plus whatever other context you might need to make better decisions about them. In this episode, we're going to take a step back from individual services and look at how you can skill up more effectively on the big three cloud providers through their certification programs. So, if you're interested to dive into Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform and become truly real-world capable with them, then keep watching and I'll tell you how. Now, just quickly, I need to start by explaining why you should actually care about certifications. And right off the bat, no, it is not because they will guarantee you a job. They won't. But certifications are still very valuable tools, and I believe their primary value is to guide your learning process, and in particular, to fix your blind spots, those unknown unknowns that will otherwise demolish the value that you could otherwise offer. The first big similarity between our three cloud providers is in how they have designed their certification systems. To identify a real-world value by first validating that you actually do know what you're doing, and then provide a way for you to show that achievement. Amazon says that you can validate technical skills and cloud expertise to grow your career and business. Microsoft encourages you to show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. And Google's wording is very similar too. Validate your expertise and showcase your ability to transform businesses with Google Cloud technology. The gist is the same for all of these certifications. 1, learn a broad set of skills in a defined scope, usually a scope matching some IT career role. And then 2, demonstrate your understanding and ability by answering a series of questions and possibly performing some sample tasks. If you score enough points to pass the predefined threshold, then you will earn the certification and the cloud provider will vouch for your ability. Okay, let's take a look at how these programs are organized. Each cloud provider has a non-technical entry-level certification that is all about understanding the broad aspects of the cloud paradigm in general, and also how to take advantage of that cloud's key services to solve business problems. Microsoft calls this cert their AZ900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals, Amazon calls theirs the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, and Google has gone with the title of Cloud Digital Leader. Each cloud provider also has at least one associate level certification. These dig quite a bit into real usage of the cloud services and are fairly technical. There's also an expert level of certifications in each cloud where things get particularly deep. Azure does call these certs expert, while Google calls theirs professional certifications. Amazon has also named a couple of theirs professional, but most of the AWS ones are christened as specialty certs. Now, all of these are serious business requiring a lot of technical expertise and representing significant capability. Candidates who earn any of these certs should feel proud of their accomplishment. Of course, I do mean the expert level ones, but I absolutely do also mean the associate and foundational ones too. Each one is a valuable part of a person's own individual learning journey. And even if someone were to amass every one of these certs that exists, well, they'd still have to keep their learning journey going because the technology itself never stops improving. Okay, so this is the section of the video where I'll list out every single certification that every cloud provider offers. Yeah, no. That would take us down to a much smaller level of detail than we should for this video. But don't worry, we've still got you covered. We have a separate certification guide video for each cloud that does exactly this and more. If you're interested in learning more about the cloud, then I strongly recommend that you go through at least one of these guides. I'll add the links in the description below. And if you're not yet sure which cloud you want to start to learn, then I think it'd be worth your time to watch all of those guide videos, and maybe also the rest of the episodes in our cloud provider comparison series. And then if you're still unsure after all of that, then just, I don't know, flip some coins or randomly pick some other way, because starting to make progress, any progress, is both necessary and valuable, and it won't really matter all that much. Even if you decide to switch later, you'll be much further ahead, and you'll definitely still benefit from whatever you did already learn on the first cloud. So just do it. Now that we have a general sense of these certification systems, let's take a look at the logistics. To start with, getting any of these certifications involves passing an exam. Now, Amazon and Google have exactly one exam per certification, but Microsoft sometimes requires more than one exam to achieve a particular cert. And since Microsoft's certification system is a jumbled mess of nonsensical numbers and versions, you really do need to watch our guide video decoding them if you're interested in Azure certs. But okay, let's consider each of those exams. A lot of them are made up of multiple choice questions where you have to choose the correct response or maybe set of multiple responses to answer the question. If you answer correctly, you get the point for that question. And if you get anything wrong, you get no points for it. This is the same whether it's a 50-50 true-false question or whether you need to choose, say, 4 correct options out of 8 possibilities. But don't get too stressed though, because most of the questions will only expect you to choose just one correct response from 4 or 5 options. And in fact, AWS and GCP exams are almost entirely that. That said, Microsoft does mix it up rather more, with some questions being about identifying parts of a diagram or placing things onto something graphical, stuff like that. Okay, now I'm sure many of you are wondering how many questions you'll see on the exam. But that actually varies a lot, not only from exam to exam, but sometimes even for the same exam over time. So as you're getting ready to take a particular exam, check both the official details from the vendor and unofficial reports from other exam takers of how many questions they saw. And since I just mentioned reading people's exam reports, now is a good time to warn you away from looking for or reading any exam dumps, where people have violated their non-disclosure agreements and shared private information about the exam, like the questions they saw, the actual ones. The vendors have very interesting ways of figuring out who has been cheating like this, so just stay away from any non-reputable exam prep sites. Now, especially if they offer like a money-back guarantee on your getting certified or something like that, because those are virtually always a cheating scam. Those are bad news, and even reading them just can get you barred from the vendor certification program or even from doing business with them entirely. All right, one more thing we should cover is labs. Some exams include a part of the exam where it's all about performing a real hands-on task, instead of just answering questions about the material. Microsoft was the first to include labs in some exams, and Amazon has also started incorporating them. Google's exams do not yet include any labs. Now, if the exam does include a lab, they'll usually give you a bit longer to complete it. So when you sit for a Microsoft Azure Fundamentals exam, you get just 45 minutes because it's a short exam, no labs. And other Microsoft exams give you either 100 minutes or 120 minutes, depending on whether they include labs. Now, Amazon gives 90 minutes for their foundational exam, just over 2 hours for their associate exams without labs, and 3 hours for any expert level exam or associate one that does have a lab. Google also lets you have 90 minutes for their entry-level exam, and then 2 hours for all the rest. Now, the amount that you'll pay for the privilege of attempting one of these exams also depends on the level of the exam. At the time of recording, AWS foundational exams are $100 US, associate ones are $150, and all the rest are $300. Prices for some other jurisdictions are set in local currencies, but they're roughly the same after conversion. Google charges $99 at the entry level, $125 at the associate, and $200 for the professionals. For Azure exams, Microsoft also charges $99 for the fundamentals, and then $165 for all of the rest. And since you probably want to be pretty confident that you will pass before you throw down this kind of money, you should know that we at A Cloud Guru and Pluralsight have spent countless hours putting together practice exams that are designed to help you get ready, including many questions and realistic simulations of the exams. A membership to our platform includes unlimited access to all of these, plus our hands-on labs and courses too, of course, so follow the link in the description to check out a free trial. Now, if you've given it your best shot, but you still weren't quite able to pass the exam, well, I'm sorry. You are able to retake the exam, but sadly, it will mean paying for another attempt. Also, you'll have to wait a while, a cool down, if you will. Amazon has the simplest retake policy. You can retake the exam after 2 weeks. Microsoft is quite similar, with 2-week delays between attempts, except that they'll let you retry the first time after just 1 day, and then they'll limit you to a maximum of 5 exam attempts in any 12-month period. Google's retake policy, though, is the toughest, making you wait 14 days after a first fail, 60 days after a second fail, and making you wait an entire 365 days after a third failed attempt. After that, I'm not sure. Maybe they'll make you wait a decade or something. All 3 vendors offer all of their exams in English. Google also offers about half of theirs in Japanese and one of them in Spanish. But Microsoft and Amazon have much broader language support, adding Korean, Chinese, Indonesian, German, French, Italian, and Portuguese. Actually, Microsoft even adds 2 more, Russian and Arabic. But in all cases, you should definitely double check that a language is available for the specific exam you want to take. Because even in some cases, a language that was previously offered might not be offered any longer. Like, for example, if that exam had recently been updated and the cert team hadn't yet had the chance to retranslate it. Now, in terms of taking an exam like this, you have 2 options. You can either go to a physical testing center, or you can set yourself up to do online proctoring. Either way, someone will be watching you take the test to make sure that you don't cheat. All 3 clouds support both of these options, physical and virtual I mean, but they use different testing providers, meaning that the exam software will be different and a particular physical testing center may not support all of them. Often the physical testing centers are run by schools that use the same rooms and computers to test their own students. So one place might be able to handle Azure exams but not GCP ones, or vice versa. Amazon and Microsoft both support Pearson VUE for testing. Amazon also lets you choose PSI if you prefer. Microsoft also sometimes uses PSI or another one called Certiport for certain situations. And Google always uses Criterion. Now, even just booking one of these exams can be a bit of a job, so check out the videos that we've linked in the description to walk you through that. Okay, so let's say that you just managed to score yourself one of these certifications. Congratulations! Well, if it's a Google cert, it will last for 2 years, and an AWS one will last for 3. When it's time to renew one of those certifications, you just take the normal test again, though you can usually get a half-price discount on the cost of the exam. Microsoft does things a bit differently though. To start with, their AZ900 Azure Fundamental certification doesn't ever expire. Once you achieve this, you get to keep it forever. The other Azure certifications, though, expire after only 1 year, but renewing them is something that you can do fairly easily online. And not only are these renewal assessments free, but they are also simpler and shorter than normal exams, covering only technology updates and just using a simple web UI instead of a heavyweight exam software thing. And if you fail any of the recertification exams for any of the clouds, don't worry, you can still keep the certification until it normally expires, and you can retry the recertification. Whew, well, that was a lot, eh? Now remember those guide videos that I mentioned earlier? They're all free, by the way. Well, not only do we have one for each of the big 3 cloud vendors, but each of the videos also includes a roadmap that you can use to target particular roles in cloud computing. You want to dig into data? Well, check out the paths we've laid out for that. Have you decided to do development? We've got you covered there too. Setting your sights on security? Haha, check. And are you all about architecture? Well, we're all over that too. We want you to succeed in whatever you're trying to accomplish with the cloud. Our guide videos go through explaining all these paths and more, and they should leave you with an understanding of how you can use cloud certifications as tools to succeed in the roles in the real world. And of course, I should also make sure that you know that we at A Cloud Guru and Pluralsight have lots of training courses that can help you on your journey. So feel free to check out our free plan that gives you access to a rotating set of free courses, or take our free trial that lets you try out everything. But regardless of where you go next in your learning journey, keep being awesome, Cloud Gurus.